Welcome, welcome, guys. For those that are joining, I cannot see anyone. So if you don't mind, go ahead and drop it in the chat who you are and kind of where you're at. Are you trying to hire your first hire? Or you're trying to hire a second, third, fourth? Like, where are you at kind of in business? So if you guys don't mind dropping in the chat as you come on, that would be awesome. Actually, I can see some names. Justina, what's up? Lauren, Kelly, Jenny. Man, I got my favorites on here. This is awesome. What's up, guys? What's up? Hopefully it's going to be super valuable to you. Michelle, what's up? All right, cool, cool. I'm going to give it a second here, but yeah, drop it in the chat. Say where you're at, like what you want to know. Hi, Jenny. Like the smiley face, or it's like I don't know, it's a happy face. So that's awesome. Justina, this is for you, by the way. I was thinking about you when I created this, so this is good that you're on. I'm glad you're on. Megan, what's up? Okay, let's see. I've hired before but need better systems. Yes, it's massively important. What's up, Kelly? Okay, yep. Solo, no employees, but trying to get ahead and plan ahead for sure. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, you want to get on this sooner rather than later. Lauren, love to see you on. Virtual assistant, part-time, but need a full-time PT. Yes, well, we're going to talk about virtual assistants and the pros, the cons with them, where you're kind of, where you kind of want to go and where you kind of want to head from there. Jenny says, currently only have a part-time admin. Okay, great. So, y'all, this is gonna be a really good presentation for you guys. Yep, you need to hire a second PT. Justina, great. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because I got a lot to go over. So hopefully, if you guys are just hopping on, please make sure you have a pen and paper with you. And for those who, let's say to the end, you guys are gonna love it. I got a fun gift for you. And I will send it over to you. So if you stay to the end, you will get an amazing gift. So that's gonna be fun. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's see here. All right, so meet my people. I love this stuff. So these are a lot of people in my mastermind. I just got a message literally yesterday that one person in my mastermind was hitting 52K. Now let me tell you about this person. This person, she came into my world. She had no employees. And she was like, Kelly, my goal is to basically try to get my husband out of his current job and let him be able to do whatever he wants. He's still going to do something that gets paid, but it's going to be at a significant pay cut. And he was able, or she told me this week that she was like, Kelly, because of being in the mastermind program, I now in 1 year have been able to hire 3 PTs, a full-time admin, and another part-time admin. And just this week, she was able to allow her husband to say bye-bye to his job that was bringing, and they have 4 kids, by the way, okay? That was bringing lots of money in the door. And now he's taking a job with like a $30,000 pay cut. And it's huge. So give it up. Give it up for that person because, I mean, that's huge just because she was able to hire and know how to create systems around that and know how to make the clinic go from here to here. So that's really, really, that's the beauty of hiring. I know it's scary, which we're going to get into in a second, but that is the beauty that you can actually live the life that you want. Okay. Another person said they made 100K in 10.5 months. Guys, can you comment in the chat? What PT do you know, or OT, or any PTA that you know that's making $100,000 a year that doesn't work for themselves? Can you guys comment in the chat? Like, let's make this super interactive because I can't see you guys. Jenny said none. Thank you, Jenny. None. Okay. And she didn't even do it in a year. This person did it in 10.5 months. Now, here's the thing. This is freaking epic. But this is kind of where this person is going to be capped out at because it was only her. And so the story will continue, but if you're just one person, this is kind of where you're capped out as, I would call it as a solopreneur. So that is why you want to be able to hire. And let me go to one more person. This is Andrea. She started out in what's up, Jessica? She started out in a chiropractic clinic, a very small room, okay? She was seeing 32 patients. She saw 32 patients a month. And then she was like, you know what? I'm outgrowing this space. I got to get my own space. She got her own storefront. She was able to hire 2 full-time admins, and she put out an ad for a PT. Now she has multiple PTs and OTs. But in this scenario right here, she was seeing 98 patients a week. And that's why she has that face. It's like, well, because she was burnt out. That was like almost 23 to 24 patients a week and trying to run the business as well. She just couldn't do it. She was at a point where she's like, I've got to actually hire. And so now her story continues, and it's been amazing to see that now I think she has, like I said, 2 or 3 PTs and is continuously growing. But again, she was capped out right here at 19K, which is a significant amount, because she only was able to see about 98 patients a month, which was her bandwidth, which is a lot, by the way. Okay, I highly do not recommend that. I got up to, at one point when I worked for myself, solely for myself, guys, I was seeing 50 patients a week and running my business. Now, I get it. We all are scared. And this is what I want to talk about. Most of us are held back by my biggest belief, and why it took me 9 months to hire. Because my biggest belief that I could not afford me, so how was I going to afford someone else? So tonight, I'm going to break that down for you so we can really see, is this something that you can do, or is it something you're not ready for? So what beliefs right now are you thinking in your head? What is it? I would put it in the chat. Like, why did you decide to come on this webinar tonight? Was it because you think hiring an employee, they're going to take your money? Did you think, man, this process of hiring is so overwhelming. I've hired, but it wasn't really the right fit, and it's really overwhelming for me? Was it, oh my gosh, I have to manage someone else? Like, no one taught us management skill. No one taught us leadership. No one taught us management or leadership. So how are you going to do that? Like, these are all the thoughts that are going through my head. Lauren said the entire list. I love it. I know that I wrote it because I was like, this is what I was thinking. Okay. I won't be able to pay them. Who's thought that? Am I going to find the right person? Like, that's huge. That is so huge. Okay. How am I going to train them? Do I have systems in place? Am I going to train them? My first ever hire was a PT. Within 2 months, she decided to leave. You know why? Because I couldn't even answer the question, what's the difference between a W-2 employee and a 1099? And I didn't know how to pay her. And so I just used Zelle at first, which was kind of correct or not. I don't even know. I was just like, I don't know how to pay you. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to pay you every 2 weeks? Like, for real. This isn't a joke. I was so naive when it came to hiring. And she left after 2 months because she was like, this lady doesn't have it together. Bye-bye. And I'm saying this to you guys, and I'm telling you all my mistakes, and I've coached lots and lots and lots of people to hire people. So it's not just me, it's also people I've coached, okay? And I've just seen a lot of happening in the pelvic health realm of just expectations and us not knowing how to lead and manage. I think that's big, and how to communicate effectively. And so that's what I'm going to teach you tonight. Okay? So, why are we all here? Well, I can tell you I've made lots of mistakes. Over the last year, guys, it's now up to 30 people that I brought in and out of my company. 30 people in and out of my company over the last year. I basically had to get the reps in a lot so that I could hone it in more, hone it in more, hone it in more, because no one teaches you this skill. And I truly, truly believe this, and I would write this down. I really think this is a big takeaway. If you can master hiring, then you're not going to have a lead issue. You're going to have less of a communication issue. It's always, sometimes hard to communicate depending on personalities you have in your office. You're going to have so many less issues if you can hire correctly right off the bat. And that is why I'm doing this tonight, because I can't tell you how much heartache not only have I seen in my clients at Mastermind, but also myself, especially over this past year to year and a half. It's just truly been insane. So this past year, I paid a recruiter, paid him $8K. That was just to find me a manager. It wasn't even a PT or a therapist. And within 6 weeks, I had to let that employee go. And that was just paying the recruiter. That wasn't even the time that it took me to be in the clinic, to train the person over and over and over and over again. And it just wasn't clicking. And so because of that, I had to make a change. And I don't want you guys to end up in this situation, because I actually went through three different managers in this time period, in a very short time, in like 2 or 3 months, something crazy. Okay. So yeah, it says 2, but now I'm on to 3. Okay. And so it's really been crazy. And I want to give you guys all the pearls here. I had to turn over 90% of my staff in the exact same month that this is going down. Imagine that. It's psycho. Okay. But I had to do it because I had to rebuild and make it to where I had standards of the company, and I had expectations, and everyone was coming in on the same playing field, ready to play, rather than someone being, over here being like, yeah, I want to be a C player on the team and I'll just sit back. Like, I want you guys not to have those C players on the team. I want you to have A players at least, and if not B players. So I'm here to help you guys save lots of money and lots of time and lots of heartache. And I'm here to help you make the right decision moving forward so that you really can move things. Okay. So, I want to bring clarity. I want to show you what the path looks like from start to finish and how that works so that you're not overwhelmed. I want you to make sure you feel confident in the hiring process, and make sure that you learn how to look for the correct person when hiring. And this is another big lesson I would write down. People say this a lot, but this is so true. Hire slowly, fire quickly, or let them go quickly. Most of us, if you guys have ever had an employee and they decide to, they go bye-bye. Let's say it's a therapist. And all of a sudden, that therapist goes, and you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with all these patients? We start freaking out, right? I call that reactive. And I'm guilty of doing it too. But we cannot be reactive. You have to be responsive instead of reactive. And the responsive person is going to learn how to put out an ad, how to look for exactly what you're going to look for, and how to actually test the person along the path of what you specifically need for your company, so that when someone comes in, that you're not wasting time. You're not wasting money. You're not wasting your own freaking effort and investing in people. You cannot do that. It takes a lot of energy to invest in people. And that's why I want you guys to learn how to actually hire slow instead of fast. And this is something that I did have to learn, because I was like, oh my God, we got to get someone in quickly. We got to get these patients seen. Has anyone ever felt that? Like, we got to get these patients seen. It's on me. Like, I have. I mean, for sure. It's very hard to leave patients on the table and you're like, I don't even have a therapist for you. I'm so sorry. Okay. So here's the thing. Some of you guys had this question. Kelly, when should I hire? Well, number one, you guys have to, I always say you got to eat crap first. You have to do it all. Remember how I just talked about? I saw 50 patients a week. I did my laundry. I would bring it home for a whole year. It took me 3 hours at night. Now, I'm not recommending this, by the way, okay? I'm just saying the pain of not hiring. I brought my laundry home, and it was 3 hours at night that I did every single night after I saw patients from like 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night and did not see light. And I worked 7 days a week to fit in that many patients and to build the business. The positive to that, yes, it gave me a lot of profit. Okay? The negative to that, it completely tanked my health. And I left my job originally because my health was deteriorating and I couldn't get out of my bed. Well, what I found out is, guess what? I was back in this exact same position that I told myself, Kelly, you will never be in this position again. And I was back there. because instead of me working 8 hours a day, I was working probably 15 to 17 hours a day. Yes, it was for myself, but I knew that was not sustainable. I knew it. But I was so scared to even just hire an admin. I was scareder to hire than to actually leave my job, and I was terrified to leave my job. But the hiring seemed like freaking Mount Everest that I could never get up. And I want you guys to realize it's not worth killing yourself. I promise you it's not worth killing yourself to not hire. Because hiring, which I'm going to show you in a second, potentially could be something that's a good fit for you. Now, the second phase to this is if you're already someone that has a wait list and you have like 4 or 5 people on your wait list, most people think, hey, a wait list is really, really good. No, a wait list is not good. It means you're actually leaving money on the table. So if I had 5 patients on a wait list, guys, that's $1,000 that I am leaving on the table. That's not good. So that means I need to put out an ad immediately to try to get a therapist to come on board. Now, let's say I'm at the point where I have let's say 35 open spots, and let's just say 30 of them are filled. At that point, when you have about 5 open spots on your schedule, that's when you actually need to put out an ad for a therapist. Okay? And that's when you should be actively looking at trying to bring someone on. And here's probably the best advice I can give you on hiring, especially from a therapist perspective and even an admin perspective. Hire before you think you're actually ready for that person. Because most of us just don't know what we just don't know. And so if you're able to hire, you're going to think, well, Kelly, what am I going to do with this person? I don't even know what job roles to give them. Trust me, there are so many things in a business that need to be had. There's so many tasks that need to be done that no matter who you bring on, there is something for that person to do. All right, so let's go over the PelviBiz pyramid. I think this is very important, and put it in the chat because I want to try to make this so interactive, even though I can't see you guys, okay? So, wannabe-preneurs. I don't think there's a lot of wannabe-preneurs on here. Pelvic-preneurs. That's where you're at your side hustle. You're selling to whoever. You're making about 1 to 6K a month, and you're seeing about 1 to 7 patients a week. There may be 1 or 2 of you on here. So let me know in the chat who you are, by the way. Let me know if you're a wannabe, pelvicpreneur, solopreneur. Now, I think most of you on here, let's see if I'm right. I think most of you on here are a solopreneur at this point. Yes, yep. Megan said solopreneur. Okay, yes. Erica, solopreneur. Okay, so for y'all solopreneurs, what do I have right here in this pyramid? It's the most painful place to be. Did you not just hear all the pain I was in? How many hours I worked? How much my health went down the drain? How much time my laundry was? Not to mention all the phone calls I missed when I was treating patients. Jenny said, yeah, it's painful. I know, it's painful. It is so freaking painful. Because here's the deal. Anyone right now, which is most of you are solopreneurs on here, anyone right now that's a solopreneur, guess what you've done? Not purposely, okay, I'm not blaming you guys, okay? But you've created just a job for yourself. I call that Pelvi job rather than Pelvi biz. Pelvi biz means you actually create a business that withstands without you. So if Jenny's sick, if Erica's sick, if Lauren's sick, if something happens to you guys, your business can continue to run without you. Suzanne, if Suzanne's sick, the business can run without you. But right now, most of you guys where you're at, if something happens to you, how are you going to see patients? How are you going to see it? And so this is why you want to quickly, as fast as you possibly can, get out of this phase. And that's why you guys are here tonight. And that's what I really, really want to help you with. Because I'm telling you, I felt your pain, work with lots and lots of people in this pain, and you got to get out fast. So solopreneurs, you guys are typically making anywhere between 7 to 19K a month. You're seeing anywhere between 8 to 20 patients a week. That's where you're at. Now, premiumpreneurs. This is where you start to build a team. And this is where you have to have that identity shift. And this can be very hard for those people that are very scholar-like. Like, hey, Kelly, I just love treating those people. Is that anyone on here? Anyone on here? I love, Justina, yeah. I love treating Kelly. Don't take that away from me. Look, I'm trying not, Erica said, ha, ha, ha. I'm trying not to take that away from you, and I'm not going to. You can treat it any time, but ask yourself this. Why do you have to carry a schedule? Can't you, if you hire, just go in at any time and treat with another therapist? At any point, you can go in and treat with another therapist. Okay? So, this is when you want to make that shift where you're shifting out of the patient care and you are actually running the business. And this is hard because they did not teach us how to be a leader. This is hard because they didn't teach us how to manage. My COO is on right now, Julia, by the way. And she's very brilliant. She worked at Nike. She said, Kelly, she schooled me on some of this stuff. I'm not kidding. She worked at Nike. And she said, Kelly, do you know that there's 4 management positions? And I said, Julia, what? 4 management positions? That's like unheard of in the pelvic health realm. Okay? But she's like, yeah, there's a management position here, 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 here. And she was schooling me and all that. I'm like, wow, that is so crazy that we don't even have those different levels in our actual realm. And so, guys, I think you're going to hear a lot of different perspective tonight on this, on management and leadership from just experience of different people that we have bringing their knowledge and getting more clarity and understanding of what different roles are and what expectations are. So when you're premium, doesn't mean you got it all figured out either. You're just starting to develop systems. You've got to have systems and understand the very defined roles. And this could take you, guys, this probably took me 2.5 to 3 years to figure this out. And I'm not joking on that, because that has been the sticking point and the pain point of what is 100% define that role. It's very hard to define. Okay, it can be very hard. Then we have what do you call it? Supremepreneur. These are where we actually build leaders. So you have your therapist, you build them up to leaders. They're maybe marketing for you. They're the top of the leaderboard. They're doing everything you ask of them. They become leaders. And this is where you're making anywhere between 40 to 100, or you're making $30,000 to $100,000 a month. And you're seeing anywhere between 40 to 100 patients a week. Now, you think, hey, Kelly, I've reached the top of the pyramid. This is it. Well, guess what? You got to stay there. And to stay there, you got to continuously do things differently. However I built orthopelvic last year, I have to change the whole company up this year. This is why I need different players. And this is why I need different systems. And so you constantly have to be innovating. It does not stop. I hate to tell you that. Hate to break the news to you. But it will actually be less of your time doing, I call it implementation work, where you're doing the actual thing like the manual stuff. And you'll be doing more of the thinking stuff on the back end because you're able to innovate more, and then let the people that you hire be the ones that are the face and helping the people out. And if you want to treat the patient at any point in time, guess what? You can go back in on the therapist's schedule at any point in time and you can co-treat with them. But if you stay in solopreneur mode, you don't have a business. You have a job. And I've got to create a actual true business for you guys and help you out with that so that you don't end up with a health issue. You don't end up where your spouse freaking hates you. This is some real stuff. Because they're resentful because you're always working. or that your kids are pissed off because you can't go to some dance recital that they want you to go to because you have to go treat a patient or you got to be on a phone call with a patient. It's not cool. And it's so painful. And when people stay in the solopreneur phase, they give up because they truly believe if they hire, it's going to be more work on them. And the reality is it doesn't necessarily have to be. Doesn't, especially if you have the right guidance. So meet more of my people. This week, I literally got this text right here. Highest month yet, 64,501. This person's in my mastermind. She is funny story. She had a non-compete with her job. She then went and she had to be in a 7-mile radius outside of her job. This was 2.5 years ago. Okay. And we're like, all right, fine. We'll put the clinic just 7 miles outside the radius. So that's what we did. Brand new, started from scratch. We started to build. And then she got tired. She got to like 20 patients a week. And she was like, Kelly, I can't do this. And I was like, I know, we got to hire. So then we hired. And our first hire was someone that was part-time. She paid her per client. And then she decided, you know what? I think it's time for me to hire on another one. So I was like, okay, cool, put out the ad. Well, I recently was with my grandmother at a rehab facility. I was just going to visit her, and this therapist was there. And my mom was like, Kelly, meet this therapist. She's a PT. And I was like, oh, cool, hi, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, you really, really cool. Like, I really like your vibe. And she's like, actually, I'm really interested in a pelvic health. And I'm like, that's cool. I do pelvic health coaching. And she's like, I was like, do you want a job? I can probably find you one around here. And so, long story short, because I went to my grandmother's rehab facility, met a PT, within a week, I met this person, got her hooked up with this person right here that's making $64K a month, and she hired her as a full-time staff therapist, and she's been an amazing, amazing fit. And I just knew it by talking to her, and I was trying to pick out these certain questions that I will go over soon in the webinar here. But I knew that she was the one. And because this person right here was able to hire, guys, just with two therapists, making $64,000 a month. Can you guys put it in the chat? Is that life-changing to you? By the way, that's over $500,000 a year. Put life-changing if it would be life-changing to you. I know it's even hard to imagine. Megan says, F yes. I want a piece of that. Yes. Yeah, that's some life-changing money right there. Really. It really, really is. We have another person. She was at 213 patients booked this month, and her mind was just blown, right? As you can see, her mind was blown. She said, I never in my craziest dreams ever thought I'd be here. Most of you guys in this chat right now are probably not even thinking that you could get to 200 patients. You know what? Let me ask you guys this. How many patients do you guys think that your place, that your clinic, or even online practice, how much do you think you can get up to? Go ahead and give me a number. I would love to hear it. I would love to see the number in the chat. But she was able to get up to 213 visits in 1 month because she was able to give the tools from the group and because of the ladies in the group were just able to support her. So guys, what do you think? How many do you think you can get up to? Jessica said solo right now, so I see 15 patients a week. Okay, who else? What do you guys think you can get to? Even if you were to hire, let's say that, if you were to hire. Kelly said 140 to 160 if I really stretch my limits, not hiring. Wow. Yes, Kelly, you're pulling a me, Kelly. By the way, Kelly is like the replica, I feel like, of myself. Which is funny, we have the same name. Justina, I love 80 a week. Okay, so she loves 80 a week. I think my max is 18 a week. That's what Jessica says. Megan, my goal is 1,200 a month as a business, not by myself, obviously. Yes, 100%. Brienne, 200 plus if I hire. That's correct. Jenny, she said 180 a month. Okay, so you guys are starting to see, like, I mean, you could go up to Megan's status over here, 100 or 1,200 a month. Okay, I mean, that's crazy. I don't know if that's insurance or not. Megan, if you want to let me know, that'd be awesome. But okay, now we're gonna go over here. I mean, look at this story right here. Saw first patients in December and now seeing 15 patients a week with my highest revenue at 12.8. This is just solo by herself. Solo by herself. And now she's able to convert at workshops. And now she has to grow and get bigger. So once you solve one problem, which is the solopreneur phase, it will lead you to the next phase that you got to move on and you got to go past that. Because if you stay in solopreneur phase, I'm telling you, you're going to be stuck and it will actually probably go down. And you're going to be so burnt out. You're going to be like, I can't do this anymore. Good. And Megan says I do groups and groups. Great. That's the way to go. So way to go. All right, guys. So now let me exit this. Let's do a little activity here. Okay. So everyone take out your pen and paper. I'm going to go to my whiteboard. All right. So we're going to have, write down person A. You follow along with me here. Okay. So this is person A. Person B. All right, you with me? Okay. So let's just say we charge $250 a visit. I would love to see in the chat, how much do you guys charge a visit, by the way? For the sakes of this presentation, we're going to say one visit is worth $250 a visit. Okay, now from here, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say we're seeing 15 patients a week. Person A is. Why is this a race? A week. So 15 patients a week at $250 a visit. Erica, I'm right on your math right there. That's great. Person A has no admin and they have no therapist. Okay, now let's do some math. You guys ready to play along? I'm going to try to do this as I calculate it. So we're going to do 250. I'll put it down here. 250 times 15. 250 times 15. 250 times 15. Come on, calculator. Here we go. Equals 3,750. So 3,750. Now, we're going to times that by 4.3 because there's not necessarily just 4 weeks in a month. So times 3,750 times 4.3. That equals, so times 4.3, that equals 16,125. Everyone with me? Okay. So that means person A this month made with 15 patients a week, she made $16,000 basically. Now, person A is going to pay herself $7,000 for her actual salary. So let me see if I can shrink this a little bit. Okay, so from here, pay myself $7K. Now, that means we have a profit. For those that don't know, profit means what is left over in your bank account after you pay yourself. Okay, so profit of $9,125K. So this is the profit right here is what's left over in the bank account, and she paid herself $7K, and we're getting these numbers from this overall number right here. Hopefully everyone's with me. Now here's the thing. Do you guys think person A, do you think they can take a sick day and still make this amount of money? Yes or no? Nope. You're right, Megan. They cannot. No. Do you think they can take a vacation and still make this amount of money? Nope. Do you think that they can go to their kids' dance recital at any point in time in the day and still make this kind of money? No, they cannot. So, that is, do you think that they miss phone calls, by the way, when they're treating patients? Because they're not only treating patients, you also got to do the marketing aspect. So when they're out marketing, are they missing phone calls? I bet you, Jenny said, hell yeah. Okay. I bet you person A is probably, if I had to take a guess at this, since I've done this for a while, I probably guess that she's missing between 4 and 5 phone calls just by being doing this a week. 4 to 5 phone calls. For those solopreneurs on here, tell me how many phone calls you miss a week. I would love to hear. So she's missing that. So that means if she's missing 4 to 5 phone calls, guys, and it costs $250, let's just say she's missing 5. So $250 times 5, that means she is missing, just on initial evaluation, $1,250. And let's just say you're really good at booking them out for a full plan of care, which in my eyes is 12 visits. Okay. So if you have, that times 12, that means you're actually losing out on how much money from not having an admin answer the phone? $15,000. $15,000 potentially there. Okay, let's go to person B. Is everyone with me? You following me? Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Same scenario, but we're going to change things up a little bit. Person B, you could charge $250 a visit. You're going to now see 30 patients a week. Hear me out on why. 30 patients a week. Okay? You now have decided to get up the courage and you're going to hire one admin. So we have one admin on, and that admin is going to be on for 20 hours a week. 20 hours a week. Okay? And we're going to have one therapist. We decided to be brave and we hired both around the same time. And so we have one therapist and we have one admin on 20 hours a week. Okay? And the therapist is full-time, by the way. Okay? So now, can someone help me with the math here? You're going to do 250 times 30. That's 7,000. Let me write it on the board. So 250, so everyone's following along. Okay, that's where I got per visit. Times 30, because that's how many patients we have a week. That equals 7,500. Now, we have to times that by 4.3. So 7,500 times 4.3, that equals 32,250. A month, guys, that's coming in. A month. Now, has that doubled already? Has that doubled from just person A? Yes or no in the chat? Person A had no one. It was just herself. She was a solopreneur. She was making $16,000. Person B hired on an admin for 20 hours a week and hired one therapist. Has it doubled from person A? Yes, it has. It's doubled a month. Now we have to pay these people, right? So we're going to go over that. So now we're here. You're going to pay yourself the same thing. Pay myself $7,000. Okay, and that's, by the way, that's a very average salary, not even average, it's a good salary for a therapist, just so you know. Okay, and then you're going to pay the therapist, because remember, now you have a therapist on. The therapist, $7,000. Now, we also have to pay the admin. So admin, you're going to be charging about $20 an hour times 20 times, let me see, 4.3. So you're going to pay the admin $1,720. Okay, that's going to be a month. So now we got to add up $7,000 plus $7,000 plus $1,720. So let's do some math. 7,000 times 2 plus 1,720. That means we are left over, after paying them, with a profit of 15,720. Is everyone following me? Can you comment yes in the chat so I know everyone's with me? Okay, cool. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Erica. Okay, guys. So now our profit is this. Sorry, my eraser. This is what's left over. I am paying myself $7K. I'm paying the therapist $7K, and I'm paying the admin. Okay, so now we're here. Which one would you rather? So I have now help. Think about this. I am paying myself. I'm getting paid. I have enough money to pay someone else. But now, can I go on vacation? Can I go on vacation? Can this therapist take my patients? Could she? Could a therapist, a full-time therapist, see 30 patients a week by herself? Yes, she can. That means person B can go on vacation. That means person B can be sick. And guess what? You're still making the same amount of money, if not slightly more. And this is just for one hire. When you hire another therapist, your profit is only going to go up, but you're going to actually now have flexibility and help. Is person B going to be the one actually going out and having to see all the patients and do all the marketing? No. Person B now has time to go out and just focus on the marketing so that they can bring more clients in the door. Is this making sense? So which one would you rather? Person A or person B? Which one do you think is less painful? Person A or person B? Kelly said person B. Yeah, it's person B. Are we following? Now, if you add another therapist to this, just so you know, guys, because when you hire on just one therapist, it's going to kind of look like, well, I'm just kind of replacing my income. I know it's crazy to see, right, Jessica? But I'm going to show you what's even crazier. Are you ready? If you hire on another therapist, let me do the math on this. So let's say, let's use the same example as person B. Let me add on another therapist here that has 35 spots a week, okay? Because that's technically how much you can have. So let's just revise this. Can I change a color on here? Let me see if I can be fancy, or maybe I shouldn't try to be fancy right now. Probably not. Let's not try. Okay, so let's say now instead of one therapist, guys, I have two therapists. Remember these numbers. So now I have two therapists on. Two therapists. Admin is the same amount of hours. We're keeping everything the same in profile B. Except for, instead of 30 patients a week, we're seeing 35 on one and 30 on the other. So 35 plus 30, that equals 65 patients from the two therapists. So 65 patients a week. 65 patients a week. We charge $250. So do 65 times 250. Here we go. 65 times 250. That equals 16,250. Guys, that's a week. A week. Is everyone following me? Times, what are we timesing it by? 4.3. You guys ready for this number? What's the number? 69,875. Is anyone's mind blown yet? That's what you get a month, by the way. Isn't that crazy? And then you want me to show you what is going to be left over? And you can still pay yourself $7K and pay yourself $10K. So let's just say that therapist is going to cost me another $7,000. So now expenses, we have my salary, the therapist salary, and again, this is hypothetical, by the way, okay? Hypothetical here. So that's $7,000 times 3, that's 21,000. Okay, and then admin is about another 1,700. So 21,000 plus 1,700. That means your overall expenses for payroll is this, guys, right here. 22,000. So if you take what we have, so 69,8, follow me, 69,875. If I could do this on 69,875 minus. So what's left over? Guys, this is your profit. Is everyone with me? Is everyone with me? Can you comment in the chat? You with me? Just say with me. No math's hard. With me? Yes? Okay, good. So do you see what's the difference between 2 therapists versus 1 therapist? Does everyone see profit here versus 2 therapists versus profit here, 1 therapist? So do you guys think, Kelly says, I love seeing these numbers. Good. Sometimes I know numbers are scary, but do you guys think it's beneficial to have 1 therapist on your team or 2 therapists on your team? 1 or 2? 2. Yes. Beneficial to have 2 therapists on your team because you can only increase in profit. That's if you can fill the schedule, right? Okay. That's if you can fill the schedule. But I wanted to show you guys realistically kind of what this looks like. I wanted to break this down so you guys could see, you know, what it looks like of why it's important to hire. Okay. So let me see here. Hold on. Where am I at? Okay. So now let's get back into it. So here's the next question. Who do you want to hire? Who do you want to hire? Do you want to hire an admin? I need you guys to think about this because this is going to be like a little activity. Do you want to have an admin? Do you want to do sales and marketing? Do you want to do a personal trainer, massage therapist, a Pilates instructor, a therapist, a manager, or a COO? Which one do you want to hire? So this is my activity slide. I need you guys to put it in the chat section and write this down. What do you need? So think about this. I need you to really, really think. What do you need? If you're like, look, I don't like social media. If you need a social media person, then I would hire a sales and marketing person. Now, personally, just FYI, remember how I told you about my COO that's on this call? Personally, her and I were discussing back and forth different just titles, like as simple as titles. And we kind of came to the conclusion that we're kind of getting rid of admin because admin, you really think about admin's role, well, it's just really kind of answer phones and that's really it. But if you really want a good sales and marketing person, aka someone that can do social media, someone that can also answer phones, someone that potentially could go out for you, like to go out to like different doctors' offices and go like, you know, talk to people, someone that can do email series, someone that can clean up the clinic and stock the rooms, interface with the customers that are walking in the door. That's actually going to be more a sales and marketing person than an admin. Now, for those that have hired before, if you want to put it out for an admin, you can. But we were really kind of analyzing this stuff and we really came up with that's really kind of a sales and marketing role. So I want you guys to think about what do you need and put it in the chat. Do you need a Pilates instructor? Do you need a massage therapist? Do you need a personal trainer? Sometimes some clinics want to add on an ancillary service and they want to rent out a room and have a massage therapist next to them, or maybe they do a personal trainer. Do you need that yet? You may not need that yet. I'm just throwing this out there because depending on where you're at, you may or may not need it. Do you need therapists? Do you want to increase your caseload and you want to increase the profit? Do you need a manager? Now, this has been a very heavy topic for me at least, for a manager role. It's like, what does truly a manager do? Well, a manager handles typically the day-to-day. They handle the clinic. They handle any problems that occur in the clinic. And remember how I told you guys at the beginning? Like, you guys may think that this is simple right here, but this is gold. Because remember how I said it's very hard to define the roles and what you actually need in the clinic, and then like actually how to create something to attract someone to your place because of this specific role? Like, this is it. I've done the hard work for you right here. Is really thought about what is a manager's role. Think about how the company is going to move forward. That's actually a manager's role. Audit how the company is doing and how are we going to keep moving things. Handle, like I said, any staff problems, patient problems, any of that. That's actually a true manager role. What's a COO role? Some of you guys may not be at this level. You're like, what the heck is that? It's a chief operating officer. And what's their role? Their role is to make sure that all expectations are being upheld. And so the manager kind of reports to the COO. Do they fill the manager in on what's going on? They do the thinking. Let's say if numbers are going down, they're the ones that are like, hey, how do we build this thing back up? Let's come up with a game plan. Manager, let's talk, and maybe sales and marketing, let's talk. How are we together going to be able to come up with a solution to this? So I really want you guys to think about this, and I see some of this in the chat, which is good. You guys put admin first, then PT, admin PT, sales and marketing when you put it that way. Yes. Yeah, see, Kelly, it's basically about positioning it, and how are you going to position it? I'm telling you this right here, it looks simple to think about, but it's not as simple as you think because it gets blurry. And once you get blurry with the job description, guess what happens, guys? You end up with the wrong hire because you're looking for one trait and then that trait doesn't apply to this person because the ad or the position that you think in your head doesn't match the qualities of that person. And it will cost you lots and lots of money and time and frustration. I promise you that. Okay. So this is big, and every single one of you guys need this. You need standards. The biggest problem I had this year was I compromised my standards. For those that know me, know that I have high standard. I just gave a talk on premium. Like, I really have high standards, and it's not just because I want to have high standards. It's just because the people I surround myself with, my team that's on right now, okay, they are premium people. They are high level people, okay? Because they understand the value that we provide, right? So if you want to be premium, if you want to hold the standards high, please don't compromise when you're trying to hire people. Please don't, because you will literally be so frustrated. You'll be so frustrated at yourself because you just are like, why did I put this person on the team? I knew they weren't a right fit. And it's harder to let people go. You have to have a very good reason why. And so that's why I'm here. I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes and as painful as it's been for me. So you have to do this. I call it the 10 fundamentals. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it the 10, you can call it the 5 funness of working here. Whatever you want to call it. I call it the 10 fundamentals. For me, I need people that take ownership. They want to actually learn. This is what I've realized. I need people in my company that want to learn. I want people that are open-minded to how do we handle the customer service? How do we handle changes? Are they able to pivot with me? Or are they going to be very rigid and stuck in their way where I'm going to feel like I'm pulling them constantly? You don't want that. Are they going to hide mistakes? Like, hey, I'm not going to tell Kelly or the COO about this because like I just don't want them to get upset. We don't get upset. Just let us know. And we're like, hey, we tried. Great. But don't hide mistakes from us. We only want 8 players on our team. That's it. And so that's why we hold ourselves to the highest standard. Our number one thing at OrthoPelvic is we want the best freaking results possible. That's all I honestly care about is the results. So OrthoPelvic as the brand keeps standing alone saying, hey, if you go here, they will actually solve your problem. That is my number one, is making sure that the patient that comes in gets the highest level of customer service and making sure that they actually get the results. So that should be a focus in your company. If you want a premium product, if you're like, hey, I want to sell it to the masses and I don't want that premium, okay, well, maybe that's not it. So everyone's different, by the way. You do not have to be this. I always say there's no limit to ascension. My therapist can always grow. My managers can grow. Anyone that works for me can grow in the company because there's always levels to ascend to, and we all want to work towards that. No drama. We don't want any drama. So if someone has a complaint, you got to get met with a solution. These are very important things to state when you're interviewing people. Okay? When in doubt, talk it out. No excuses, and help each other. We do not just say, oh, that's her problem. No, we lean on each other. We help each other out. That's how we roll. It's a team. It's not an I. It's a team. So you got to make sure anyone that comes on the team is the right fit, especially in a cash-based practice. So why you should have expectations, especially at the beginning. Because if you do not have the expectations, your employees that you hire, whether or not it's admin, personal trainer, whatever, they're going to feel like, this lady pulled one over on me. She didn't tell me this on the interview. And guess what happens? They become resentful. So, especially for us small businesses, guys, a lot of times you just don't know what you don't know. That's why I'm here to help and kind of tell you, hey, this is what the path looks like ahead. But sometimes people are like, no, I want you to tell me exactly what I should be doing right now, when I should be doing it. And it's like, but sometimes I just don't know the position until we actually get into it. And then they feel hurt by that because they do feel like we pulled one over on them. But it's like, I just didn't know. But if you have to go back and set expectations, oh, I'm telling you, it is so much harder to change the way people think compared to if you just set it up front. Like, this is it. I'm laying it all out there. You take it or you leave it. That's it. And people are so much more receptive that way. So this is why it's very, very important to have expectations. It's harder to implement, like I said, and you're going to get pushed back from the people. They just, again, they will not tolerate it well, more than likely. The other thing is, what else do I want to say? Oh, you need this. So let me give you an example. Therapist. So in my company, we want to have 35 patients a week per therapist. That's what we want. That's the standard that we have. And I was like, well, hey, when I brought these new people on, we weren't hitting it. And so I was like, you know what? Let's lower it to 30. I lowered my standards. That gave permission to my therapist to be like, yeah, let's just maybe hit 30. Do not do that. Please do not do that. Because then they're going to shoot for what? Probably 25, because they're probably just going to say, yeah, that works. It's close enough. And now your standard's supposed to be here, and now they're all the way down here. It's not going to work for your company. You're going to have to let some people go if people don't step up. So you really need to be very clear on your numbers. So if you guys are unclear, please ask for help, because you have to know your metrics. You need to know what hard skills would be like. Do they know all the manual stuff? If we're talking about therapists, if you're talking about admin or sales and marketing, did you actually look for someone that's been able to market to other practices? Did you hire that person? Or did you just hire Joe Smo out of college that doesn't have a clue about marketing? Maybe they have a marketing degree, but never has done it. And then soft skills are like, are they just like a friendly person? You really can't teach that. Do they have good morals? Are they doing some stuff behind your back? Like, I can't teach that. Are they showing up on time? I can't teach that either. I try, but you just can't teach. And by the way, and in these interviews, they're going to be like, yeah, Kelly, I show up all the time. I show up 10 minutes early to my last workplace all the time. And then they come to your company and you're like, where is this person? They're 5 minutes late. What the heck? That goes a long way with me. Not that I'm a stickler so much about time, but it's more about the trust part. And how can I trust you if you showing up late and acting like it's not a big deal? You immediately have lost my trust. And the second you lose my trust, I can't go back. I really can't. Because to me, now it feels like you're pulling one over on me. And that's just not cool. So I need you guys to think about this stuff. This stuff makes a big impact. How's their behavior amongst patients? You got to look at that. And again, make it just very clear at the time. This is another thing I messed up on. You have to make it clear on where is the line in the sand on when it's time for them to be let go or for them to move on. Because most of us here, I guarantee all of us on the call, I know 95% of you guys, we're very nice people. And all we want to do is help people. And the last thing we want is have to have a very hard conversation to let someone go. Because I feel people, like I really love people. And it is so painful to have someone that you actually like as a person, but they are not performing and you have to let them go. Because otherwise, your company will go down the drain. And this is why, if you set the expectations up front, then it's so clear where that line is that the person technically already kind of knows before you even have to have that hard conversation. This is why it's so, so important. So, how long does it take to hire the right person? It's going to take you 1 to 3 months, guys. And this goes like, if you're looking for sales and marketing, it's going to take you about a month to find that person. From the time that you put out the ad to actually getting that person to come in clinic. 3 months for a therapist, especially for a pelvic health therapist. And again, from the time you put out the ad to when they actually are onboarded. That doesn't mean they're up to pace. That just means by the time they're actually onboarded. And remember how I said at the beginning, hire slow, fire fast? You want to make sure that you are doing this slowly, from what I've learned, instead of reactively. Like I put here, it's better to wait for the right person that aligns with you at least 90% of the way than to just put someone right in just because you're reacting. You gotta find candidates that are willing to go through the process with you, willing to understand the company, invested in the company. They got some spunk and they got a reason behind it. The 2 people that are on right now in PelviBiz, these people have fire underneath them. And it's not from me. They see that they're making an impact. They see that they're helping people. Okay? But we're all leading the mission together, and those are the people that you want in your team. You do not want someone there that's just like, hey, I'm just showing up for the paycheck. Was another lesson this year when someone tells me, hey Kelly, I got 2 leads, but it's 5 o'clock and I'm gonna go check out right now, but I'm gonna leave those 2 leads for tomorrow. If you're an A player, you don't leave those 2 leads for tomorrow. You handle it, and then we figure it out on the back end. Hey, come in 30 minutes later or whatever. But let's go ahead and call those leads. No, I don't really feel like calling them right now. I'll be here for another hour or so. That's not an A player. And I get it's not their company, but you want people that want to help people and move the mission forward. So don't rush the hiring process. Okay, hiring full-time or part-time, guys. So here's the pros, here's the cons. Let's start with part-time. Part-time, you're going to have less risk on the company. So for those people that are scared, your best option may be to start with hiring part-time. That goes for admin, and that also goes for therapists, where you would pay them per client that they see. It's easier to find candidates typically, okay? It's a reduced cost in salary, benefits, and expenses. And there's flexibility for the employer and employee. So those are the pros. The cons are they're typically going to be less committed to your company because a lot of times they're working other jobs elsewhere. So they're going to be less committed. They're also potentially going to have less availability in the schedule to pack a schedule if they were a therapist because maybe they limited their hours to only 15 hours a week. And maybe their work may not be consistent. So an admin, maybe they're like, hey, for 2 months, because I'm in school, I can work these hours. And then after school, I can only work these hours. So it may be that may be a con. Now let's go over to full-time. Full-time, the pros are you have more availability. So let's just say a therapist. therapists, if they're full-time with me, they got 35 slots. That's a lot of slots now that are open. So when someone calls in and they're like, hey, I need to get in because we know speed wins, and I have spots open, guess what? Bam, I could put them on the schedule. If I had a part-timer, I may not have those open spots, and then I lose the client because they can't get in right away. The other positive is they have the ability to expand their hours. They can go more. We have more of a commitment into the company. They have higher productivity rate because you know why? People are knowing, liking, and trusting them. And so they're like, hey, I still want to see that same therapist. If you have a part-timer, let's just say she's on for 15 hours. I'm talking about a therapist, by the way. And let's just say they only wanted that part-timer that was 15 hours. Well, once that 15 hours is gone, they can't get in with that person again. And they don't want to go to the other therapist. So now, again, you're hog-tying the company because you're only kind of bottlenecking it to those 15 hours with that patient, or with that therapist, I mean. So this is the pro of having a full-time, is you're going to have a wide variety of hours that you can fill slots with. Consistent with workload and projects. And they're going to be more committed. Now, here's the con. They're going to be harder to qualify, ones that truly meet the standards. You're going to have extra payroll expenses if you look at it as an expense, if they're not producing and hitting standards. Typically, if employees are not an expense, just FYI, let me just make sure that it's clear. Employees are not an expense unless they start to become a liability for the company. When they're a liability for the company, then that's when they become a con. And what I mean by liability is if they're underperforming, then they become a con. But if they are performing at the level they should be, or even over, they are not a liability. It's harder to move if they're not a right fit for the company. That means you just can't let them go. You have to have really good reasoning for letting them go and stuff to stand on, which means you have to have multiple write-ups. Okay. More prone to work-related stress. And they're going to have, potentially they're going to be complaining about a hard work-life balance. Now, let me speak on this because this is some of the complaints sometimes that we hear. Now, this is where you as the leader have to do some mindset shifting. And you have to get them to understand that this is not just a job, or at least for orthopelvic. You guys can do whatever you want with your companies, but I'm telling you what I find typically is helpful for the team. This is not a job. This is, I want to be able to cultivate and be able to help grow. But the person has to be willing to grow in all aspects of their life, not just the job. So when you're looking at a full-time employee, I'm also trying to help them better communicate with their patients. By doing that, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be able to better communicate with their partner at home. They're going to be able to better, if they have stress at work and we are working through it and we're talking about it and they're actually bringing that up to us, well, they're going to be able, hopefully, to be able to resolve conflicts outside of work a lot better. If we're bringing in healthy food and doing some maybe challenge of a healthy food challenge at work, well, isn't that impacting their life outside of work? It should be. If we're like, one time we did like, hey, share your walking pictures, and we did a walking challenge. So everyone walked for a whole month. If you guys are putting in these challenges, is that also a work-life balance? And by the way, work-life balance doesn't exist. It does not exist. For some of you guys, I don't know if you know that or not, but it does not exist. It depends on where you want to put your focus at the time. I really don't believe there's balance between work and like personal. I believe you can combine it, and that's what brings people joy. But when people are in cahoots with a work-life balance, it really creates tension in the workplace, and you don't want that. So you have to be able to educate and inform your team that this is not just a workplace, that it is actually a place that it's a place of growth and improvement in all aspects of their life. My people are not just there to be people. I don't want that. I truly want my people on my team to have growth in so much of their freaking life. I mean, that's really my mission. And if they don't see that, then they don't need to be on the team anymore. And you really got to lay that out. That goes back to expectations. Maybe that's not your mission. Maybe you have something else you're passionate about. But I truly want to help people. I know most of you on this call want that too. So I'm going to switch it over to, where do you put out an ad? Most of you guys have asked me this question before. Now you'll see here the ones that have stars, okay? These right here are the actual places that have gotten therapists and admins and sales and marketing people, okay? You can do all of this. Facebook, IG, LinkedIn, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Monster, referrals, like from maybe your email list at Patients in Clinic. Guys, this also works. You send out an email to all your patients, hey, we're hiring a sales and marketing person. The likelihood of someone replying is going to be high because they like the mission of your company, if you have a good company. Colleges, have you emailed colleges? Have you put on their Facebook groups? This is really important. Also recruiters. I know people are scared of recruiters because you have to pay them money up front. I get it. But don't be hesitant to use a recruiter. And if you need a recruiter, I have one. Let me know. I'd be happy to refer you. But don't be hesitant. If you need someone right now, use a recruiter. APTA promotions. Sometimes this works, guys. Just FYI, I mean, you can pay up to $700 for 1 month of promoting on APTA. I haven't seen it work too often. I would say the things that are highlighted are the ones that are working, I would say, better overall from people that we've studied. Like I said, current client list. You can't just post one time, by the way, and expect someone to respond. On all these things, guys, you're going to have to post multiple days in a row, not just once, every single week until you find something. And so I personally did this really cool Instagram ad, and I said, hey, the quickest 4K you will ever make. And I got someone from it. And what I did was I would pay a therapist 4K, kind of like I'm the recruiter type thing, if they referred me a PT. And so be it. It happened. And that was a pretty cool idea to put that out there. And then I got someone from it. And before, I was just posting on social media like, hey, I'm hiring, but I got no one. Okay. So you got to think of different ways. So how to put out an ad that attracts the right person. So I want you guys to think about this and put this in the chat. What do you think a therapist wants? I'm going to start with the therapist first. Can you put it in the chat? What do you guys think a therapist wants? What do they want for a job? What do they want out of a job, I should say? Come on. And what do you guys think? What does an admin or what does a PT want? Okay, so they want, this is so funny. Look at you guys. You guys all said the same thing. A flexible schedule. Flexible schedule. Flexible schedule. Pay and hours they like. Money. Like that. Stability and security. Okay, so here's what I put. Number 1, they want Con Ed, right? Number 2, they want mentorship typically a lot because especially in the pelvic health world, they're not really confident in themselves. Number 3, they want PTO. Now, by the way, this isn't an order of what people I think value the most or not. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? From what I see is you guys want flexible hours. They want potentially medical coverage. They want student loan forgiveness. They want bonuses. And they want a 401k match. So how do you put out an ad that actually attracts what you think these people want? And you know what? You know what's funny? I didn't even put in, let me go back. I didn't even put in flexible hours in here, did I? So think about that. You're creating an ad and that's the first thing that comes to your head. You may want to put flexible schedule if that's what you're truly offering. If you're not offering a flexible schedule, please do not set the expectation that you're going to offer a flexible schedule. Okay. So first, decide what you and your clinic need. So guys, I think this was a mind-blowing thing, and I really want you to think about this right now and write this down. I could not answer the question. When my COO, this was literally last week, Julia asked me, she said, Kelly, what do you want? And I was kind of taken back, and I said, what do I want? No one asks the owner what they want. It's very rare. I'm sure you guys probably have felt the same thing. And I really had to think about it because I think about everyone else and think about how can I help them? How can I progress them? How can I move them? What's the next level I can take them to? Like that's literally where my mind goes. And I still couldn't think about what I wanted. I could not answer that question. But the question I could answer was this. I knew what I didn't want. And I had to like state it out loud and then I could write it. But I had to state out loud what I didn't want. So for those that are on right now, if you can, on your piece of paper, I want you to put down, what do you not want to do? What do you not want to do? And that's going to really give you, hopefully, a clearer vision of what roles that we talked about before that you actually need to be hiring for. Because let's just say you don't want to go out and market anymore. You don't want to have to do workshops every single weekend. Then you need to be hiring a sales and marketing person to be able to do that. So speaking of that, it's like, where are the gaps? What gaps do you need to fill? What skills are you in your clinic lacking that you need that would be beneficial? What do you truly need to do in this position? And what hard and soft skills are you actually looking for? And this is really, really important, guys, because Amanda's ad or what she's thinking is going to be completely different than what Gabriella is thinking. It's going to be different than what Kelly's thinking. And so you've got to get clear on what you personally, I start with what I don't want to do because I really could not answer what do I want to do. I could not answer that. Or what do I need? I just didn't know. Okay, so I think that's really important to know that. And you got to start with you first, because if you don't start with you, then how are you supposed to fill out the rest of the roles if you don't even know what you're doing? Yeah, it was an eye-opening moment for me. Thanks, Julia. I know she's on. So it really was. Okay, so what possible ad titles are you going to be putting out? Are you going to go for that admin position? Are you going to go for the sales and marketing? Are you going to call it a patient care coordinator? Are you going to call it a front desk administration? Or are you going to call it administrative assistant? These titles actually do matter because it sets the tone for the position. So here's an example, guys. I want to give you an example. So this is an old admin ad that I put out. So it has OrthoPelvic's website. It says we're hiring part-time or full-time for a marketing and sales position. And I said, are you a person? Question mark. Or wait, are you a people person? Well, it's really broad. That's very vague, right? Like, and yeah, you could say, are you a person? Question mark. Yes or no. Are you excited to communicate with people? Yes or no? Like, it's too broad. I want you to like learn from my mistakes here. Do you know how to use Canva and write emails and put up lead magnets? Well, it's a little bit more detailed, but I'm still not nailing down my ideal person. Do you enjoy social media and online and in-person marketing? This ad is way too broad. Yes, it states like, the money or whatever else, but it's just too broad. So it's too generic. It's not clearly defined. I do not have a mission at all. All I put was my website there. They may or may not go to it. You really want to put the mission behind the company and don't just put the website. It's not specific enough for the true company needs. And that's not going to bring me the candidate that is the right fit for me. It's got to be way more detailed than that. And it doesn't really specifically list any requirements that are needed besides just basically being a human. And can you just come in, breathe, and come in for a paycheck? That is a paycheck job description right there, by the way. That's where you're going to get that person that's just only there for the paycheck. We don't want that. We want someone that's really understands the role and understands the company. So admin's do's and don'ts. Be as specific as possible for the position to be your ideal client or to be your ideal candidate that you want to actually hire. Make the ad yourself. Because we just thought about it, What do you specifically need for that role? Not just a generic ad that basically Indeed is going to help you fill out. You do it, maybe make it in 5 minutes, and then send it and hope for the best. It's not going to attract the person that you're looking for. Okay, so admin dues. Tell a story. Tell about your mission. So if I'm posting for an ad for orthopelvic, I'm like, guys, hey, I have this amazing clinic. It's called Orthopelvic Physical Therapy. I started this company because I personally had health issues myself, and I never wanted a patient to actually struggle the way I did for years and years and years, going to freaking all these freaking doctors and never getting the help. And so I don't want patients to have to suffer, and I want to be the person that actually puts things together and puts all the pieces of the puzzle together. I don't want to be the one that just prescribes exercises. That is not my company. Same thing for employees. I created a company because I didn't want to be the one that was making them see 15 patients a day, making them not have lunch breaks, making them do 2 to 3 hours of notes at night. My mission is to help people live a healthier, happier, more fulfilled life around a mission that they believe in, so that they feel amazing coming to work. And this is why I don't really believe in the work-life balance thing. It's like, it should be integration. It should be work-life integration. That's what it should be called. I just came up with that, by the way. But work-life integration, so that people are more fulfilled and happy and excited about what they're doing. And I need someone like that on my team that can get behind the mission, not someone that's like, hey, I guess I'll call those 2 leads tomorrow because it's past my time. Bye. I don't want that person on my team. So I got to clearly define, and you guys got to clearly define what the expectation is in the standards, so that you actually get that person. I said this in my Instagram post today. I don't know if you guys saw it. I said most of us actually don't have a leads problem. We have a hiring problem. And what I mean by that is, if you had the person that could bring in the leads, the sales and the marketing people, then you would not have a leads problem. Do y'all get me on that? Like that goes deep. Like, say yes in the comments so I can make sure you're still hanging out with me. We don't have a lead problem. We have a sales and marketing problem. So you hire the right person to do sales and marketing, they will get you the most amount of leads you possibly can come in the door. Okay, I'm almost done. Day 1, interview questions. We have 4 stages of interviewing, by the way, now. Instead of just like, guys, I used to do this, don't hate me for it, but I used to be like, oh, she's cool, she has good vibes, and I basically said that about everyone because I really, like people when I meet them. And I'm like, she's cool, let's hire her. Or let's hire him, whoever, right? Let's hire them. Like, whoever it was, right? And I quickly realized people will tell you whatever on the interview, and I also did this. This is a massive mistake. Do not make this. I taught people about my mission because I like to talk about it. And then I said, so what do you think? And guess what they said? Yeah, I love it. I agree with that mission. Well, I basically just told them what to say and then to repeat back to me. So of course I didn't get my right clientele or my right, people in the company, because I said the mission first instead of letting them talk. So these interview questions are so important because I just didn't know what to ask. So I talked about the mission, the company, whatever. But these questions right here are fire because they've actually been tested and we know they work to get the right candidates in the door. So I'm only going to go over a couple here. But like, first question, so why did you apply? Why did you choose specifically this company? If the person is like, I don't know I don't know, because I think you do some knee stuff. Clearly the person did not look at what they're applying for. Okay? Like, that's not it. Or if someone's like, if we're like, hey, how do you handle when someone rejects you and tells you no? For the therapist that, Kelly said end of interview. I know, end of interview, done. But like, what if, can you handle objection? Can you handle someone rejecting you? That's huge in a cash-based model. If you can't handle like someone saying no to you, that's going to be a problem. It's going to bring down their self-confidence, and it's not going to get to the patient to the actual goal that we need to get them to. So that's huge. So these questions right here are really, really important to dive into and ask. And this is just on the first day. We have a 4-step process to this. And it goes deeper and deeper and deeper each day. And it does skill checks and tests and retests to make sure that it is the correct person that's coming in the door. So what will you need to do for the new hire? Almost done. Here we go. You need payroll. I use a clock-in system, guys, that actually has a thumbprint because I want to see truly when people are coming in and out and they're not fibbing me. Not that I don't trust my people, but sometimes you just got to put extra parameters on this stuff. An internal chat system, like we use Slack or Voxer, that you can chat on back and forth so that if something comes up, you can easily connect with rather than email. An EMR system like Jane, PT Everywhere, something like that, you want to be able to use internally. And then what are you going to provide them? You're going to maybe a work uniform, like we have t-shirts like this, okay, that I provide everyone, and then they wear black yoga pants. You don't have to do that, but if you have a uniform, great. You need a company email. You need maybe a computer for them. You need a contract. Anyone that comes on with me, I do contracts. I think it makes people actually think about it, be serious about it, and committed. So I personally do contracts. You don't have to, but I highly recommend you doing a contract. Also, you need a handbook. Handbooks clearly lay out the rules of what can and should not be in the company. And trust me, when you have analytical people, easygoing people, anal people, all the different things, all different personalities, you're going to need something that clearly defines what everything is that you're going to come up upon. And not just like, well, I didn't know that wasn't a rule. So it's like, well, it's in the handbook. So you really need a great handbook. Okay, so what else will you need? So you're going to need a voided check. You're going to need your account and routing number. If they're in I-9 form, you're going to need a driver's license, social security card, or a passport. For tax purposes, they got to fill out a W-2 and or a 1099. You need to make sure that they know before onboarding that, hey, how does this tax stuff work? They got to be very clear on that. They need to sign and return the contract, and they need to sign and return the handbook. Okay. So are your employees W-2? Yes, my employees are W-2, every single one of them, whether or not they're part-time or full-time. And it's just for tax reasons why, so the government doesn't come after me. and that's huge. Okay. So a couple more things. Meet my people again. This is so fun. Okay. I just got this text too. Was yesterday or 2 days ago? Someone in my mastermind hit $62,000 and had a net, which means profit, of $27,000 a month, guys, on top of her salary. Why? Because she was actually able to hire a full-time therapist, by the way. This person is in a very, very small town. She's been waiting almost a year to hire because she is in, like I'm talking about, the closest airport is 6 hours away, okay? But she was finally able to hire a pelvic health PT, and she's hit $62,000 a month, and she netted $27,000. That's insane. I mean, it's like, look at the emoji. It's mind-blowing, okay? Same thing here. Can't believe my eyes. Checked my March income. This is back in March. I made $46,000 a month, again, because this person hired. Telling you, hiring is the way to go. It's not just about the money, guys, but it truly allows you to actually have a business that runs without you. So, guys, I have a lot when you stay towards the end, so just bear with me here, okay? I have something for you guys, for those people that are really struggling, because I know I've had many conversations with people that are on. I have an amazing offer for you tonight. There's a hiring contract. I've had 3 employment lawyers, by the way. I spent $7,000 on this contract that you guys don't have to, and I'm giving it to you in this bundle. Okay? So that is going to be part of this bundle. We have a hiring calculator that is for you specifically on different scenarios. It lays it out and it tells you exactly when to hire and how you're going to do that. And it lays out per the math. So all you math people, the hiring calculator is what you're going to need. We gave you job posts, pre-written job posts that you can use, that is to actually attract the right people, whether or not it's admin, whether or not it's a therapist. It's going to actually attract the person that you're trying to create and not just the person that's there for the job. Then we have an employee handbook. This is an 8K. This took years and years to develop, of every scenario that could possibly go on. Snow days, not snow days, time off, sick days, maternity leave policy. I mean, you name it, it's in there. Late policy, uniform policy, sexual harassment policy. I mean, it's all freaking in there. And you guys need this to make sure you are running the company effectively and that there's no like HR issues, because most of us do not have an HR department. I also created a template to create your own company fundamentals. What we were talking about. What does your company? So I'm going to guide you and show you, kind of lead you into creating your own personal company fundamentals. You're going to need that because everything is based off the fundamentals of who you're actually going to hire. Expectations on roles. This is so underrated, but it is, I would say, the number one thing is clearly defining the expectations so that when you hire someone on, they are not bitter at you, and that you can get the right person in the door to do the specific task that you need them to do, the one that you don't want to do. These roles are very, very clearly laid out, and it takes months, I would say 6 months, to truly understand what each role is, because most of you guys right now don't understand what the role should entail, and we have it laid out for you. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel here. We're going to give you a pelvic clock. How fun is that? We're going to do interview questions. Okay. So on not just the first day, you get our whole interviewing process from the very start of, Kelly, when I put out this ad, now actually, how do I interview these people? Do I do a Zoom link? I have like 50 people that applied. Do I go back to back? How do I do this? How do I come through the resume? How do I actually, what questions do I do? Do I bring them in person? Do I not? How does that all work? We lay it out super clear so you cannot go wrong in this, because it's everything that my clients and I had difficulty with. It is very clearly laid out. Last thing we have is a list of benefits for employees. So what benefits can they have? And I don't think it's even on here, but I think we even have also, what does a mentorship program look like? What does a mentorship program look like? That's huge, because most people think it's like a Con Ed course, and it's not. Mentorship means so many different ways. And if you lay it out like a Con Ed course, you're going to screw yourself. And I don't want you guys to do that. So I teach you that. So by the way, all of that is $14K, but we're not doing it for that. Tonight only doing this price tonight is for $2,997. And you can do a payment plan, okay? A 3-month payment plan. I think it comes out to, I don't know, $700 and something there. But there are 3-month payment plans, okay? Also, yeah, $785. Thanks, Julia. And you can also get, if you do buy tonight, you can get 10% off of all products and programs. That means my mastermind. So for some people I know that have been wanting to get in mastermind or even my CAP program, you can get 10% off if you buy this now. And we're going to give you 10% off products, future products, and or mastermind. So if you guys want to, if you're interested there's the link in the chat section here. You can click that. Payment plans is one. The other one is full price. Now, for those people that stayed on, I appreciate it, because I know I went over on time, but I really thought that this is a really important webinar to do. I'm very passionate about it because of what it's taken me. So every single person that's on right now, can you comment me in the chat? And I'm going to send you a pelvic clock for free, by the way. I'm going to send you a pelvic clock. So, you're welcome, guys. You're welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me, and thanks for coming on. So that's my gift to you for being on, and hopefully you guys learned some stuff. So thanks for staying on and taking your time to do that. Sonia, what's up? Michelle, I love it. Okay. Any questions, guys? I'll probably take just maybe like 2. I know I'm over time, but any questions for me, you can put it in the chat. Julia will kind of just pick them out and then we can I can answer them. So any die-hard questions? Okay, Lauren, I can answer that. Thoughts on hiring a PTA? Here's the thing. Let me put my face on here. Here's the thing. Um, PTAs are fine, okay? But you also have to look at everyone in your company. Is there a bottleneck? Okay? And I have no problems with PTAs. I think sometimes they're actually even better sometimes than OTs and PTs when it comes to exercise prescription because they can really be creative and authentic, right? Um, but you also have to look at, do you have, like, what happens if you're the therapist doing the evaluations and then if you go bye-bye, what happens? Do you have that? Do you have that as a backup, or are you always going to be doing the evaluations? If you're like Lauren, if you're always going to be doing the evaluation, then that's not, to me, you would need another therapist on to have kind of your back. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense to have a PTA at first because you would still be bottleneck in your company and you would still create a job for yourself in your company. Gwen, what's up? I'm going to send you that pelvic log. That's awesome. Um, Gwen upgraded to premium, by the way, after my talk, so that's great. I love that. Any other questions, guys? I'll take one more and then I'll jump off. But any other things? If not, just let me know. Okay, looks like we're good. Okay, so awesome, guys. Hopefully you learned stuff, and thanks so much, guys, for coming on tonight. So we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.